Okay, let's get started. We're all ready to go. So I am joined by Marina Castillo, and you are the Canadian export manager for Catena Zapata Winery in Argentina.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's just get started by just telling us a little bit about yourself and your role with Catena Zapata.
Well, I am, like you said, my name is Marina. I was born and raised in Argentina, but I've been living in Canada now since 2012. I actually started with the Catena family in 2017, but in China. I moved for a year to China to finish the second year of my master's in global communications. So once I moved there, Catena was looking for a brand ambassador. So that was my perfect situation for both of us. So I started to work with the Catena family. But then I moved back to Canada, and they made me expert manager for Canada, which was amazing. And I've been working with them now since 2017, and mostly in the Canadian market now.
So I think a lot of my clients want to kind of know, when they do these events, they want to know the history and a little bit about the winery itself. So if you could just let us know a little bit about Catena Zapata and the history, and I know that it's stayed in the same family for many generations, so maybe if you can touch on that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So this is over 100 years, so I'll do it in a fast forward
Yeah.
style of history.
Yeah.
So basically, the first generation comes from Nicola Catena. So Nicola Catena from Le Marche in Italy, he emigrated to Argentina in 1898. And he planted the first Catena vineyards in 1902 in Mendoza. So we are in Mendoza. And in the west of Argentina, next to the Andes Mountains, just in case someone is wondering
Yeah.
Exactly what it is. And then fast forward, we had the second generation around the 30s and 40s, which is Domingo Vicente Catena, a man that is kind of granted to put us a bit more on the domestic map. So Catena starts to be more important around these years in the domestic market. And then we get to the third generation where you get to Nicolás Catena Zapata. Nicolás Catena Zapata is being renowned as the man who has put Argentina in the international map. Nicolás has always loved and had a passion for French wines, Cabernet, and Chardonnay. So that's why we have a lot of Cabernet and Chardonnay as well at the winery, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And he get this inspiration of getting not just Catena, but all Argentina well known in the whole world because he did a few years of, he's a doctor in economics, and this is like something that you will know, like of the Catena family. They're all doctors in something, so high achievers. And he's a doctor in economics. So he was doing his, like a visiting scholar at UC Berkeley in California. And then he met, and this was around the late 70s, 80s. And then you know that we have here what it's called the Judgment of Paris, this famous tasting where Californian wines beat the French wines in a blind tasting. And the world is like, oh my God, these wines are Californian and like they're better than whatever.
And through Stephen Spurrier, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And this is where Nicolás says, wait a second, if the Californians can do this, I can do the same in Argentina. So he kind of started to ask a lot of questions to a lot of producers, among them Robert Mondavi, they were very open about how they were producing wines. So there was a change as well with Nicolás in Argentina, coming from like older kind of style of wines, a little bit more oxidative or more like older Italian kind of style, towards like a more fruity, fresh, a little bit of oak, stainless steel, and such. And now we are at the fourth generation, which is Laura Catena. So Laura Catena takes over the winery, and it's very interesting because, again, fantastic family. Laura Catena is a doctor she actually is a biologist from Stanford. No, a biologist from Harvard and a medical doctor from Stanford.
Didn't she go to Oxford too?
No. There's Adriana Catena, which is Laura's youngest sister.
Right.
that is a doctor in history from Oxford, and actually she also teaches history as well. Again, family
Yeah, of doctors.
of doctors, yes.
Yeah.
So right now we are at this at the fourth generation of the Catena family, and Laura, what it does, it imparts a little bit of this scientific mindset, but behind it, again, she's a biologist. So she founded in 1995 the Catena Institute of Wine, which is kind of like our research and development branch that has been focusing a lot of terroir and high elevation and the sunlight intensity in general at the Catena.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and as you say, quite an incredible family. And yeah, Nicolas, the third generation, really, as you say, put Argentina on the map and has won so many awards and lifetime kind of achievement awards, and just an incredible man. So yeah, and it's really neat as well to see the next generation, coming through, and where the direction that they want to take it, and massive emphasis on education, and I think also as well this kind of idea of sustainability and trying to make the world a healthier place, and just even within the vineyard as well, right? So it's very
Absolutely.
very interesting. So talking actually about a little bit about sustainability and things like that, what makes Mendoza and Argentina in general really unique when it comes to the climate and the what we call the terroir, or the soil, especially? I think the soil is probably a really key part of these incredible wines from Mendoza. But if you could just kind of briefly explain, just those elements that go into the winemaking.
Absolutely. So I think the most unique and the most distinctive from Mendoza, of Argentina in general, not all the regions, it's the higher elevation. But Mendoza in particular, it has to do with higher elevation. And elevation plays a big role in determining like the different types of climates that you're going to have in terms of winemaker. So just to give you an idea, you can go from the city of Mendoza, or Lunlunta, which is very near the city of Mendoza, in the lower elevations, which is already at 700 meters above sea level. And you can go to Gualtallarí at 1,500 meters above sea level within an hour. So that's, to me, one of the uniqueness of Mendoza. You cannot talk about just Mendoza in general anymore like we used to. Like we used to talk about Malbec in general, coming from Mendoza or coming from Argentina. And they used to probably be made in that way in the 90s. Like there were more generic. But now we have been studying at Catena and other, like many producers as well, focusing on the different terroirs. So a Malbec or any wine that comes from Lunlunta in the east of Mendoza is not the same like the ones that comes from San Carlos in the Uco Valley, or San Pablo, or like Gualtallarí, where we have our stellar vineyard, the Adriana vineyard, that has given us most of the higher points wines.
Yeah, and that's as you say, the altitude difference really makes a massive difference in the wines. And talk about the diurnal swing, right? The temperature between when it gets very cold at night, and then getting that really kind of warm sunlight in the middle of the day, and the difference between the temperatures in a matter of hours as well, because you're at such high altitude, is such a huge difference, right?
Exactly, and also because Mendoza, in general, it's a very dry continental climate. It never rains, to be honest. It rains very little. So all our water for our vineyards come from the Andes Mountains. It's mainly the water that it's melting from the Andes Mountains, and we get like this pristine, beautiful, gorgeous water that we have to take really good care of, because with global warming and stuff, like the amount of water is shrinking, and then it doesn't rain a lot in Mendoza. So it's easier in a country like Argentina and in a place like Mendoza to be more sustainable, because we are more naturally sustainable. We don't need to spray as much. We don't need to take care of many, many things given the natural conditions.
Yeah, and I see you've got behind you there the Argentino, because you've got the Miss Phylloxera there, right? Is in the
Yes, right
Argentino.
here.
So we're talking
Yes.
about not having to spray and things like that. For people that don't know, most vineyards around the world have to spray because of a nice little pesticide, nice little, that likes to eat all the vines called phylloxera, and of course that's why most vines have to be planted on American rootstock and all these kind of things. So that's a label for one of the wines at Catena called the Argentino, right? Which is
Yes, the Malbec Argentina. Yeah,
yeah,
yes, depicts the whole history of this fantastic grape, Malbec, throughout the centuries, from Eleanor of Aquitaine in the 1200s until today,
yeah,
going through phylloxera that almost decimated Malbec from France.
yeah. I mean that's easily one of my favorite wine labels in the world.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We won the best packaging in the world from 2018 from the World Business Magazine. That's a piece of art.
yeah.
Hence,
It's amazing. It's actually something that we carry in our store too. So it's a really great wine. So I did want to also talk a little bit about the winemaking director that you have there at
yeah.
Catena, Alejandro Vergero, because I think he is quite the character, but is also incredible at what he does. Like probably for me, got to be one of the best winemakers in the world. So yeah, if you could just kind of talk a little bit about him and how he's kind of changed and improved the winery since kind of taking over and looking after all the vines.
Yes. So Alejandro Vigil is a force of nature.
Yeah.
It's this man who is he's brilliant, as in he has the brains. He's very, very smart. But what I admire him the most is his passion. He breathes Malbec, he breathes Mendoza, and he actually pours his heart onto it. So to me, Alejandro is the closest to an artist that you can find in winemaking. And I think that's what makes him and our wines so fantastic. So this is very interesting because by trade, he's an agricultural engineer. And he actually started in 2002 in Catena in the research and development team, which was with the Catena Institute that Laura founded in 1995 that I said before. But then he moved into the winemaking team in 2003. And he started working with our top line, and he rapidly became in 2007 our wine director because he's like that. He's just like very, very, very brilliant. And Nicolas Catena saw a lot of potential in him. So since then, we've been under his wine direction. He has a fantastic team as well. So you have other winemakers under him, like Ernesto Bagda. You have, for instance, that I admire a lot, Lucia Valleretti. So we have a lot of other teams under him that follow him a lot that, to me, have been instrumental in getting, for instance, that in 2012, the New World Winery of the Year, and then many times Winery of the Year, because I think he's focused a lot on giving wines this kind of distinctiveness and freshness and the signature Catena style, but keeping it traditional, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I think giving a wine a sense of purpose and place is so important. So I also wanted to ask, are there any new projects or any kind of new and exciting things that Catena are doing that you could maybe share with us?
Yes, actually, yes, there are. So one of the projects, and I actually like it a lot, is called La Marquisiana. And it's a new project that we started 3 years ago, 2 years ago, to start commercializing, but they started a little bit before. Everything starts at the Catena Institute. A lot of things start at the Catena Institute. If you go there one day, it's like the Disney World for winemakers or wine scientists, because they have everything. It's like at Disney World where they can play, they can make all the mistakes in the world, and whatever works, boom, sees the market in a few years later, right? So La Marquesiana is our project from low intervention wines. So what we're trying to do is these styles of wines, again, low intervention, no sulfites added, aged in tinajas. So the tinajas are those old amphoras that come from Spain, actually, that we imported from Spain.
Okay.
And we are trying to make them in the less intervention way, and trying to recuperate grapes like Criolla Chica, which is kind of like the País in
Chile.
In Chile, or the Mission grape in the US, that we have a lot of, and it's always been made in this kind of cheap and cheerful kind of style of wines before, that no one was paying attention, and now Catena and other producers in Argentina as well are trying to resuscitate and say, oh my God, this makes like a really good natural low intervention wine, and that's the project that we're doing. So far it's very small productions. We are starting to get some cases in Ontario and now in BC very shortly. And Adriana Catena, which is Laura's youngest sister, is the one also leading with that project because she loves natural wines herself. So that's a new one that I really like. So we're having from there a Criolla Chica, a Malbec, a Bonarda, which is the second most planted grape in Argentina, and red grape, and Chardonnay.
Okay. Wow. That sounds amazing. So is it like macerated for a longer period of time and kind of a longer skin contact as well? And then it's a lot of kind of as you say, minimal intervention, using gravity to kind of, push the grapes down.
Even the whites. So yes. So the whites also have some skin contact in it and create this beautiful orangey kind of style of wine.
Yeah, cool. Very good. We'll have to look out for that. Yeah. So actually I have, I'm going to talk about points here now. And I actually do have a bottle of the Riverstones here, which did get 100 points from James Suckling. So if I'm right in saying, I think the first 100-point wine came in 2011 for the winery.
Yes.
And then obviously since then have received many more. And so I just wanted to kind of ask, like, what does it mean for the winery to kind of receive a perfect 100-point score from these wine critics?
Yeah. To me, it's absolutely fantastic, because even though to me points are very subjective to who are giving them, and that's fine, it helps a lot of consumers to maybe purchase wines based on point systems. But even if it's a 99 or 99.5 or 100, to me what really matters at a high level of points is the recognition of a region that wasn't even getting higher points, and B, that not only quote unquote perfect wines, they don't just come from France and Italy or the old world per se. So I think it has to do with, I think it's fantastic to help, to me, level certain wines and level certain regions, and to change this mindset in which the old world is fantastic and the new world is
still learning or doesn't, is
because
behind.
there are fantastic wines in the old world and there are terrible wines in the old world, whereas like there are fantastic wines in the new world and there are terrible wines as well. So to me, it helps level the perception of wines. So yes, it's fantastic to get 100 points, because it's also very exciting for us to say, oh my God, this is a wine that expresses exactly what we want to express, and someone else is recognizing it internationally. Mm-hmm. So yes, by all means, it's fantastic. And what I'm actually super excited, because of course our 100-point wines, we have 6 now. 5 of them are Malbec, but our 6 right now is a Chardonnay. And this is like, yes, thank you. Because to be able to make a 100-point Chardonnay from Argentina, it's something interesting to me, at least.
Yeah, it's not coming from Burgundy or Napa. It's coming from Argentina, which you would have never have thought. But I think easily, your guys' Chardonnays and line of Chardonnays are the best coming out of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot more competition regarding Malbec, but when it comes to Chardonnays, they're just absolutely incredible, and they're all a little bit different as well. Well, the last bit that we're gonna get into now is the actual wines themselves. So we're gonna be if you want to just kind of talk a little bit about the Catena kind of high mountain Malbec, and what our customers can. There you go, prepared. I love it. What they can kind of expect from this wine.
Absolutely. So the Catena High Mountain Vines line, exactly the one that you have, we have 3 wines from there: the Catena Malbec, the Cab Sav, and the Chardonnay.
Right.
So High Mountain Vines, it's because it's a blend. It's 100% Malbec, but it's a blend of 4 vineyards, 3 vineyards. It really depends on the year, but of high elevation mountains. And what we're looking for here is a fantastic, beautiful Malbec that will be on the soft kind of side, on the fuller bodied kind of side, and expressive these characteristics notes of Malbec with red fruits and blueberries and cherries, but without punching you in the face with the oak and with the juiciness. So this is, to me, a very, very easy to drink with or without food kind of Malbec that, again, not juicy, not sweet, and not going to punch you in the face with oak.
Yeah, okay.
We're trying to express that kind of higher elevation, beautiful floral Malbec.
Okay, excellent, wonderful. And then we're also going to move on and also taste, because I kind of want to do this where we kind of taste the differences in Malbecs from the different lines and tiers that you've got. So yeah, we're also going to be tasting the Catena Alta Malbec, which you've also got there, lovely. And it's obviously got a wonderful label and kind of depiction of the wine,
pyramid.
Yeah, pyramid. So if you could maybe talk about this one as well.
Yes. So basically, Catena Alta in Spanish meaning high, it's the same idea as the Catena High Mountain Vines line, a bit more refined. What does that mean? In the Catena Alta, if you see on the label, it says historic rose, right? Which, like right under the Catena Alta. So historic rose, it means is because there is a little bit more of handcraft to this wine. Historic rose is a selection of the best rose of those vineyards, and we harvest them separately. We vinify them separately because some vineyards are at 900 meters above sea level, and some others are at 1,500. So they have different times of harvesting. And then we vinify them separately, and then we blend them together for a longer time in oak barrels. So we use 100% French oak. And the idea of this wine is to make a more robust wine, but very elegant. So you will find a classic either Malbec, again, Cabernet, or Chardonnay in this line that is going to be on the fuller bodied side, a lot more complex nose, a lot more complex palate, but you can also drink this wine today or age it for 10 years, no problem. And I have tasted this wine from the past vintages, like 10 years plus, and it's drinking fantastically. And I love the fact that you can age a wine for so long that it's like, I don't know, in BC, like 40 something, $50-ish. So that's the whole idea of Catena Alta. And you can see how much more refined and elegant and beautiful Malbec is at that level.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. Thank you very much for that. Okay, well, thank you very much, Marina. Really appreciate your time.
Thank
and
you so much.
Take care. All the best.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.